It is a stark and arid land, unforgiving, unyielding, and yet therein lies its appeal. Space and silence collide, creating a utopian vision of escape from the humdrum, a place of solitude, far from the madding crowd. Were it not for the Orange River, which runs from the far east of South Africa, its source in the Drakensberg Mountains, this area would be bleak and lifeless. But there is, beyond the heat haze, an active community that ekes out an existence. Not far from the Namibian border in the Northern Cape, one of South Africa's 9 provinces, is the Agrabes Falls National Park, one of 4 unique game parks in the region and the venue for the 1999 Camel Whitewater Challenge, an IRF-recognized World Championship event. The Camel Whitewater Challenge is the world's premier whitewater event.
Moon Rock, a massive edifice of granite rising up like a full moon in the middle of the park. This was the first stop, with all the teams having the chance to renew old friendships and rivalries over a good cup of brew. Many of the teams had never visited South Africa, and certainly none had witnessed the haunting beauty of the Northern Cape with its diversity of flora and fauna. The Northern Cape. This is an area that is at once alluring as a mystic lover and as alien as a lunar landscape. It's here that the drama will unfold. From the USA, a men's and women's team. The UK, also a men's and women's team. So too from New Zealand. Defending champions, Slovenia. The Czech Republic, could they unseat Slovenia? Another team with a chance at the title, Russia. A well-polished German team. From Quebec, Team Canada. South Africa representing the host nation. From the land of the rising sun, Japan. From South America, Brazil. With Team Italy and Team Netherlands making up the contingent of 16 international paddlers.
The challenge will run over 3.5 days, and with teams arriving from all over the world, the process of registration, signing of indemnity forms and the provision of the correct equipment and race rules was quickly and efficiently dispatched. Then a warm welcome from the event's sponsors.
And of course, our own South African team. Welcome to all you competitors.
And the Minister of Water Affairs and Forestry.
All power to your paddles. May the best team win.
It was time for the challenge to begin. To reach the preparation area in the gorge, everyone had to climb down a trail of 250 meters to the bottom. It's a major logistical exercise, as this section of the Orange River has only been paddled by a few kayakers.
Okay, cool deals. I'll sort that out. Thanks, Tony.
The winners of the challenge for the past 4 years, Slovenia, enter the gorge first. Having won their last title in Costa Rica, they would now defend their title for the first time in the event's history in South African waters. The first event to be contested is the raft slalom. Counting for 30% of the total points, it would be held on the first rapid, the most technically difficult grade 5 on the course. 7 up and downstream gates had to be negotiated on this tough grade 5 rapid. Touching the gates resulted in a 5-second penalty, whilst missing or displacing the gate intentionally would result in a 50-second penalty. To add to the pressure, a 50-second penalty was imposed for a flipped raft or incomplete team. Winter is the dry season in the Northern Cape, with typically low water levels. The Department of Water Affairs granted a dam release from 600 kilometers upstream at a flow of 250 cubic meters of water a second. With perfect timing for the raft slalom, the higher water levels created a huge bone-crushing rapid named the Rocky Horror.
The start of the raft slalom saw the US women's team, winners last year at Costa Rica, heading down into Gate 1. The first third of the rapid is relatively easy, allowing teams to pick up a fair amount of speed. But it doesn't stay that way. Rapid 1 becomes increasingly more difficult, with the last third dominated by huge standing waves, diagonals and holes. The women's team get through to the upstream and final Gate 7 and paddle through to finish in first place with a best time of 4 minutes and 4 seconds. First-time entrants in the Camel Whitewater Challenge, the New Zealand women head down the course. We pick up their run at Gate 6 as they hit a big hole. They managed to hold on and push through to gate 7 to take second place in the slalom. In the men's event, Canada would take fourth place. Each of the teams in the men's and women's slalom was allowed 2 runs, with the best of the 2 runs taken as the result. Canada punched through a huge standing wave just ahead of gate 6, which they miss entirely, costing them a 50-second penalty. Canada lose crew in the hole just before the upstream paddle at gate 7. Fortunately for them, their second run was quicker and clean, the only run of the day with no time penalties. The US men's team posted technically good runs in both of their attempts. Their second run was faster, putting them in the placings. They passed through the first couple of gates easily, but by gate 6 they've lost their composure and picked up a 5-second penalty. As it is, their run was good enough for a third place in the slalom.
The host nation, South Africa, had a brilliant first run, the second fastest so far. Now on their second run, they'd be pulling out all the stops to secure first place. Not having had much time to practice together prior to the challenge, they've gelled well as a team and look good going through the first gate. Disaster strikes at gate 5 as the team lose a man and, as a result, lose time getting him back on. That brief error loses them a good line on gate 6 and they incur a 5-second penalty there. Paddling for all they're worth whilst avoiding touching gate 7, their second run is slower than the first, but the first run is good enough to give the South Africans second place in the raft slalom. The powerhouse of raft slalom, the Czech Republic, went all out to defend their 1998 victory in the slalom. They're a strong team comprising of Olympic and World Cup C2 slalom paddlers, making them the favourites to take an early lead in the challenge. Having secured the fastest run in Heat 1, they set out to better their time. Pushing hard right to make gate 6, they use all their experience to get through cleanly, but fall prey to the big hole at the bottom of the gate. Fortunately, their fast run is good enough to win the raft slalom. The overall standings in the 1999 Camel Whitewater Challenge sees the Czech Republic taking maximum points to take the early lead and a good finish for South Africa. The United States take the lead in the women's challenge.
It wasn't all blood, sweat and tears on the river. The event organisers had a lot on offer to entertain competitors in their off time. The Akrabi's Falls, the name is derived from the Khoi word meaning place of great noise, and the surrounding area has been home to the Khoi and San peoples for millennia, settling in the most fertile areas surrounding the Orange River long before European settlers arrived in the Cape. The descendants of the original San people provided a truly cultural experience for the international contingent of rafters through their traditional dance. The raft slalom was out of the way and the early salvos fired, with the challenge still wide open going into the second event. The raft sprint is undoubtedly the most exciting of all, counting for 25% of the total points. It's a knockout event over 1,000 meters at the third rapid called Wild and Untamed Thing.
We pick up the action in the first semi-final between Slovenia and Russia. It's a tight tussle for the rafts at the top of the rapid. 3/4 of the rapid is covered by a huge hole. Rafts have to paddle left and then fight through a crashing standing wave train to the finish. Slovenia booked their place in the final. In the second semi-final, Germany are in pole position with South Africa on their right. It's a very tight paddle and Germany narrowly edge in front to gain the advantage. South Africa recover and sit right on Germany's tail, waiting for the opportunity to pass them. But in the closest race of the day, it's Germany who booked their place in the final. In the women's final, New Zealand go head-to-head with the British. New Zealand in pole position power away from the British women to take a clear lead going into the rapid. The UK women have no answer for the Kiwi Power, which takes them through the line first.
It was fun.
And yeah,
It's not easy.
after 2 events, you're absolutely flying. How are you feeling?
Good, but you know, it's not over until tomorrow night, so yeah.
So we really enjoyed that race. It was good to be racing against the New Zealand girls. Had a wicked time.
For the Camel Whitewater Challenge to be staged successfully took 8 months of preparation. This included getting permission from the National Parks Board, arranging a dam release and setting up an infrastructure.
Running an event of this nature is a huge challenge. We have a 200-meter deep gorge. We have a huge team of logistical personnel, including safety. We have medical backup. We have transport personnel and race crew.
Can we the three of us just paddle down the edge in the croc?
Yeah, absolutely no problem. Paddle across and go and fetch him. You're not going through any rapids, so I've got no problem with that. This is all tied together by a complex network of Motorola radios, and that holds the whole system together.
The preparation and recce of the area was made possible by Kalahari Adventure Centre. Their knowledge of the river and surrounds proved to be invaluable. In order to get 16 rafts to the bottom, a complicated but effective gantry rigging was placed at the top of the gorge, allowing rafts to be lowered to the put-in area on 350 metres of cable. A rigging team was on hand before the challenge started to set it up.
For the safety here, there's quite a big logistical challenge on that. In the gorge, we're going to have 3 rafts covering the major rapids, each of those rafts with trained paramedics on them. And we also have 7 kayakers backing up the safety team. In case of an injury or an accident, we have helicopter backup. We've organized with local hospitals. We've organized with hospitals further away with better medical care. So basically, any injury from a little cut all the way to major trauma or worse can be handled by the safety team.
For the construction of the rafts, we travelled to Komaki, an area just outside Cape Town.
These are the rafts that we specially designed for the Camel Whitewater Challenge. Making them longer and slightly narrower has made it into a very fast boat, very rigid, and giving it the kick in the bow and the stern makes them highly responsive, which is a necessary thing with these professional paddlers who are going to find these boats responding to their paddling much more than in any other normal commercial raft.
Back to the raft sprint final between Slovenia and Germany. Slovenia are essentially a full-time professional outfit training twice a day for 7 months prior to this event. But it's not all about the muscle.
See that? Yeah! 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
It's neck and neck, but Slovenia in pole position on the river left edge into the lead and power through the slot to enter the rapid ahead of Germany. On board with Germany, fighting all the way as they punch through a huge standing wave. But Slovenia keep their lead and take the line to win the raft race, with Germany close behind taking 2nd overall. They had their own reasons for losing out to the Slovenians.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe we have not so much experience like them.
The overall standings after 2 events sees the Czech Republic hold on to first place with South Africa 2nd. Slovenia's winners moved them up into 3rd overall. In the women's raft sprint, New Zealand's win puts them further ahead of the American women.